Good day. My name is Pat Butler. I'm the owner of Dorado Ranch in San Felipe, Baja, Mexico. I bought the ranch in 1994, and I've been asked to express my concerns and opinions about things that I think need to be done for the port of San Felipe, so that it is for our future success and development and things that need to be done in the port town. So I'm going to use a letter that I actually gave to our new municipal president, who takes office in a couple of weeks, I believe on December 1. And these are points, there are 9 points on this letter that I've expressed to Jaime Diaz, that things that I think are important to get accomplished under his administration. And of course, because we're a sub-municipality of Mexicali, we need his blessings and support to accomplish things here in San Felipe. As well as the state government, the new governor, Kiko Vega, who we will also express these points to, and other points that concern citizens here in San Felipe have. So if you'll allow me a few minutes, I'll just go through the 9 points, and I need my glasses to do that, so my lenses. Point number 1 is, and these are called objectives in order of priority to make the Port of San Felipe what I call a model city. And I think that's the objective. We're not a municipality yet. We have an opportunity to kind of create our own municipality in the future. And when we do that, I think we should try and do it as a model port city in Mexico. So the first issue is the safety of the San Felipe citizens and visitors. And I think that's very important that we're known as a safe town. Thank God we've got a military base here with a good general and admiral and 500 military, half naval and half soldiers. And they're here, of course, to make sure that the Sea of Cortez and the port entries for the military stops are properly managed. But fortunately, they also become part of our security. So I think that's a good thing for us. In addition to that, of course, we have municipal police. We've talked about taking on the Malecon and putting the municipal police more in a mode of tourist police on bikes, like they do in some of the beach towns in California. And I think that makes it a more friendly thing, but also gives them the ability on bikes to move up and down the Malecon without being obstructed by all of the traffic that we get on heavy weekends, and they can react to situations more. We've installed 3 cameras on the Malecon so we can preview the Malecon at all times and monitor what's going on there. And when the initiative is underway to stop drinking on the Malecon and clean the Malecon up and make it more family friendly, and to get the panga and fishing, sports fishing guys moved over to the big marina, and I'll talk about that a little bit more. But safety and security of our citizens and visitors, I think, is our first priority. Secondly, to clean up the port town of San Felipe and change its image. We need to improve garbage service. We need to stop burning trash in the city and build a quality landfill with proper equipment so that we can deal with garbage and trash in a more ecological manner. We need to clean up the empty city lots that are full of garbage. I think we've talked about giving the owner of the lot an opportunity to clean it up without a fine or a penalty, and if it's not cleaned up in a certain amount of time, to actually to charge a fine or put a lien on the property until it gets cleaned up. I believe we need to take the cars that are in these junkyards as you enter the Port of San Felipe and we need to do a contract with a company to come down here and grind up the cars that are sitting in the entryway of San Felipe, sell the metal, the scrap metal. The city can use the proceeds for city projects, but that is an eyesore when it's not the greatest first impression when you drive into our port town. We need to clean the Malecon and keep it clean, because again, it's a first impression aspect of entering the town of San Felipe. We also need to clean the marina. I was there recently, and there's a lot of trash and garbage, and it's not maintained well there. This is a big issue, and I know it's somewhat controversial, but we need to get loose dogs in the streets of San Felipe under control. We either need to get a spay and neutering service for them and get the dogs, adopt a dog program, or we need to get them off the streets. But there are just too many of them. They're dangerous. They start to pack, and they're dangerous for families and for kids, and certainly it's part of the element of getting our port town cleaned up. I think we need to adopt and implement a uniform signage program. And finally, on the Malecon, I think we need to implement a storefront architectural and design program so that the buildings and the shops and the restaurants and the stores down there have a nice look to them. And finally, as I mentioned before, we definitely need to eliminate the consumption of alcohol in the Malecon. As we all know that live here, there are inadequate bathrooms for drinking on the Malecon, and the end result is you create a urine stench because people are using our beach as a toilet. It's even been recognized by the current governor that's in place that's mentioned it to us before, Assumian. So that needs cleaned up. Number 3 is I think we need to implement the Tutuava sports fishing permits. And by cleaning up the marina and moving the pongas from the Malecon to the marina. Also to provide fresh water and sewage for cleaning fish at that facility, and have ice and styrofoam containers available so that when the fishermen come in, they can fillet the fish, they can properly dispose of the fish parts, and they can pack up an ice container, a styrofoam chest for the fishermen, and I think that's all part of the service. But if we issue Tutuava permits, then we do a couple of things. First of all, I believe we'll bring at least 5,000 visitors to town. Secondly, we can control the amount of Tutuava that are harvested out of the Sea of Cortez, because we'll have a permitting process, and if you get caught fishing Tutuava without a permit by Profepa, it'll be a big fine situation, and we'll be able to control the Tutuava and stop the butchering of the Tutuava that we all know is going on right now to harvest the buche, which is the delicacy out of the Tutuava, to sell it back to basically to the Asian community. So Tutuava permits, I think, are important for our tourism, and also for getting the situation of taking the endangered species that we spent years and a lot of money bringing back to the Sea of Cortez, so that we don't wind up in the same situation again where we're making the fish, the Tutuava, extinct again. Number 4 is to implement the Fast Pass for visitors. So when they're here visiting the town, the port town of San Felipe, on busy weekends, then they can get out through the Fast Pass lane, and they're not sitting in line to exit through the border for hours. Number 5, I think we need to, we've already taken a big step to do this, but to I say accelerate the development of a commercial and charter air service into San Felipe International Airport to increase tourism and foreign investment traffic, and to create a second mode of transportation of San Felipe. So we have the highway that mostly has been redone and will be by the end of the year, I think, completely redone. And then the airport, though, would give us a second good mode of transportation for tourism, and it will invite investors to come in also and look at the possibility of investing in San Felipe. So this past weekend we had the president and senior vice president and regional director of Seaport Airlines here. We're very close to, I think, an agreement with them to begin commercial air service into San Felipe in April of 2014. Right now they service 21 cities and 9 states in the United States, and I think they're anxious to get a international status, and they specialize in servicing small towns. So we're looking forward to getting an agreement together with them, but that will begin our commercial air service at least. So moving on to point number 6, we've suggested the pavement of a road that's on the books in San Felipe called the Boulevard Las Misiones, which is a road that is partially paved, but then it turns into a dirt road, and it actually is a road that will lead all the way from downtown, from where the downtown sewer treatment plant is, basically out to the marina. And we think that reduces the need for people to go back up on Highway 5, to enter Highway 5, to go around to get to the marina, and it will extend more or less our Malecon situation. I think it will create other business opportunities on that boulevard. Number 7 was to fund a beach restoration program. Part of this would be with federal money, because the beach erosion to the north of the marina has been pretty dramatic. And it's really because the way the marina was built, it doesn't have any fingers for the entry of the marina to properly block the movement of the sand, and as a result of that, it's eroded the whole north beach on the north side of the marina. So there is a method of restoration, beach restoration, can be done. We've already had marine engineers here to look at it. We have a plan of the type of plan it would take to do the restoration, and I think that's something that needs to be looked at also. Number 8 is the request from the municipality, the municipal president, to return at least 50% of San Felipe's tax dollars to support the accomplishment of all these objectives. I'm not exactly sure what the percentage of taxes that we get back are right now, but I think in order to accomplish some of these things, they're going to need to be funded, and they'll need to be funded and supported by San Felipe tax dollars. And the last point, and this one is an important point, but it maybe belongs in a higher element in a priority list, but is to develop the plan for San Felipe becoming its own municipality, and to support the appropriate study for the appropriate master plan. So we already have some of that work done. I know that Governor Vega is willing to take a look at that during his 6-year term, and of course this is a process that's going to take 1 year or 2 years just to develop the plan and to prove the viability and sustainability with our own tax base of San Felipe being able to manage itself with its own municipality. And one of the great elements that I think a lot of the foreigners are concerned about is that to do this, it's going to require, Mexican leadership, and we really need to work on the future leadership of San Felipe, and that's a very important part of this municipalization study process. So those are the 9 points that I kind of presented to Jaime Diaz, and of course he's not officially in office until a few more weeks, but these are things that are talking points for me, and I think for many of them, for the general betterment of San Felipe, we're in agreement, and I think these are points that we should work on through Jaime's administration, and try and get a plan to get some of this, or as much as possible, accomplished. Like I say, these are my own personal points. They're not, from being in the port for almost 20 years, I've been here since 1994, and I'm sure there are other concerned citizens in San Felipe that may have some more points or other points to be added to this list. But I've been asked to give my opinion, and that's what my opinion is. Thank you.